This podcast is sponsored by Carrick Competitions. They're one of the fastest growing competition sites in the UK. You can win cash, trips away, watches, cars, much more. And ticket entries are as low as 5p an entry. And they also have some fantastic, funny videos on their Instagram page at Carrick Competitions 1. Go check them out, carrickcompetitions.co.uk. You can see the logo there in the screen. Yep. Hope you enjoyed today's podcast. Thank you. Welcome back to Kitchen Talk, episode 20. We're joined today by Mr. Darren Matthews, fellow comedian. You're the third person from the sort of South Armagh, Newry region that I've had on the podcast now. You're starting to take over.
Is there some sort of grant money involved that you
I don't know. Newry Council are starting that might be something to look into.
cross community effort?
Yeah, and off camera as well, by the way. Darren did bring some, are they Jammy Joey's?
Jammy Joey's, yeah.
Jammy Joey's and German biscuits?
Yes.
So any future podcast guests will be made to bring gifts.
You could be the first podcast that sends them like a writer list,
Yeah.
but they have to bring it to you.
Yeah.
Not when you arrive here, this is the options.
Yeah, exactly. You need to bring this to come on the podcast. I actually have a guy coming on just after you, and he was like, I'm going to secure sponsorship money for me coming on, and I was like, that's a great idea. You give me money to come on my podcast. Even better. How are you anyway, Darren?
Oh, good man. That's been a productive day so far.
MOT and all.
Absolutely.
That MOT centre in New Norwich, by the way, it's a bit rough, isn't it?
It was interesting to say the least, because they had I was at the MOT centre, and then down the road there must be some sort of CrossFit gym or something, because there were people out like running around the roads. They must be doing one of those like high rock simulations.
Yeah.
Whereas I was like, get off the fucking road, I'm going to be late for this. Absolutely late for my MOT. Move.
I went to get my MOT done as well, and I haven't had my car, like I haven't been driving too long, and so the first time that I was getting the MOT done, the mechanic I bought it off, he said he would take it up, and I was like, grand. And then the second time, obviously, I bought my new car, and they had the MOT it for me. So then a year on, I've had to get this one MOT, and I went up to the New Norwich one. And I didn't really know what to expect. I thought you would go in and there would maybe be like tea, coffee, biscuits or anything. No, in New Norwich, you just take the car off you, sit in the bus shelter.
Yeah, the guy's like, you can either wait in the building or you can wait over there with all those depressed looking people. I was like, go to the depressed people. Look like my people. Yeah.
Nobody looks happy to be there.
Well, it was. I mean, to be fair, not to date this to podcast too much, but it was a Saturday morning, so you wouldn't be thrilled if you're there at 8 in the morning. I'd be like, you said it. I didn't want to. That's the old joke. I was in a bad place this morning. You're depressed now, Newton Arts.
How long did it take yours?
It's like 15 minutes.
I didn't realise it was so quick. I was surprised when the girl came back and she just gave me the leaflet and was like, yeah, there you go. I thought it was like a full, hour job or something.
You show up with like a packed lunch and a Sherpa. Shall I go for a walk? I'll be back later. No? What do you stay there? Just go to the bus shelter. Okay.
And you can see the ones. There was an old fella actually whenever I went to get mine done, and he obviously must have failed on something, but he didn't expect to fail. And he read the list before he drove on, and he goes, for fuck's sake, you're fucking joking me and all. At that point the mechanic was already back in the centre. Like.
So I do a thing. This might be the inner country boy, where they bring the car to the MOT if you think it's going to fail. So basically, bring it, put it through, and they'll give you the list of what to fix. Because people will take their car to the mechanics to be like, this is for MOT in 2 weeks, and they'll go out and do everything. Whereas where I'm from, it's just like, here, see if it's not in that list. Leave it alone. The fuck, well, it's not a problem.
That makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Because then you're probably saving yourself money in the long run.
Or I mean, you might just be driving a dangerous car. But I did the car I get MOT'd. So we've the two cars at the house. There's like the good car, and then there's the wee runaround. So it's the car I take the gigs. So it goes around the country. We to go to shows. So what I did was the other day I get in and turn the key, and I got a wee light on the board, and I was like, fuck, what's going on here? And it was rear light, and I went round. It was one of my fucking red lights was out, and I was like, bollocks. I had a slap and it came on, and I've never felt more like the Fonzie from Happy. You should just like make the jukebox work, maybe like boom. I was like,
the fingers up. So I met him.
I have met him too.
Henry Winkler.
Henry Winkler, yeah.
He was doing this is so strange, but he was doing he must have wrote children's books.
Was it in the Central Station, Lanny Station?
No, he came to my primary school.
Ah, no, I saw him. I saw him do a reading in what used to be the Central Station of the book. Yeah, this is years ago.
They're about something to do with dyslexia, I think, because he's dyslexic himself. And I remember, I don't know why, because like a child of that age probably shouldn't know who the Fonz is.
Yeah.
But I for some reason did, and I was like starstruck by this guy, and nobody else really gave a fuck who he was. But he just came in. I must have been like 8 or 9 maybe, and he came in. And was like, "These are my books," in the big accent.
Like, hey.
Years later, when I saw him, I just sort of forgot the memory. And then, have you ever seen Arrested Development?
Yes.
He's in it as well. He's the lawyer, blah blah blah, isn't he? And I remember looking at him, I fucking met him as a child. It was a dead strange thing.
For people who don't know, like Henry Winkler, because obviously everyone's like, he's the Fonz, and that became an iconic role. You know, it's like when you think of Mark Hamill, you think of Luke Skywalker. Yeah. But he's also the school principal in Scream, and he's the coach in The Waterboy.
Is he?
Yes.
Oh, I've only watched it once, but I didn't know that actually.
So he's one of those ones where you don't think of him, and then when you watch those movies back, you go, that's fucking Henry Winkler. And then you're like, that gives you my primary school. It absolutely is. There was a great one as well where I didn't realise how small he was. Yeah. You know, Hollywood leading men, you don't realise they're all tiny. It's like Tom Cruise is like 5'2".
Here, and do you know what? And he's like 60 odd as well.
Yeah.
He's going out with Anna de Armas.
Tom Cruise is?
Yeah.
No, he's not.
No, I might have made that up. I think it's Anna de Armas.
It'd be funny if it was Henry Winkler. Like he's still got the Fonz energy, like.
It would be the tall one.
But he's doing that because there was that famous quote. Was it whenever Nicole Kidman got divorced from Tom Cruise, they were like, what are you going to do now you're divorced? And she was like, I'm going to go back to wearing heels. Which is just shitting on the man.
As a short man, I would hate someone to say that about
I know, I'm 5'8" as well. So he's like, oh, you're a short king. And I'm like, well, I mean, actually where I'm from, we don't believe in the monarchy. So that's offensive.
I would snap your arm off for 5'8". I used to tell people I was 5'8" because I never really knew what my height was. And then I went to this football thing, you had to get measured for it. And my mate was taking a photo, or he was like, you're 5'6", and I was bollocks, no way. Right enough, 5'6", and I've never been more disheartened in my life, but I'll still tell people 5'7".
It's mad too, because I mean, I've seen comics do this thing where they talk about, you know, like people lying about their height on dating apps. I'm just like, yeah, but when you get there, you're just the height you are. Yeah. There's no point.
I have a friend who's a girl, and I don't know why I said it like that, but she's 5'10", but she feels like 6'3".
Oh yeah.
It's like the relativity of it all. But then I think on the other side of that, as a smaller man, do you feel like the smaller men come across as smaller than they actually are?
Well, you can have short man syndrome, which is a totally different thing.
Yes. I have the two of the best ones: short man syndrome and only child syndrome. I don't actually have them, but I could come down with a case.
You think you qualify?
I could qualify. I could get picked for it. Yeah.
Man, I'm trying to think of. I definitely know people who have short man syndrome where they're just angry wee fuckers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it comes from? Is it you hate the word because you're so low down?
I think it's probably the indignity of having to be like, can you hand me that down, please? Just being defeated by the top shelf in Tesco.
I worked a retail job before, and I used to have. There was a girl who was a lot taller than me, and I was trying to get something. I didn't really want to go up and step at her. I had to ask her to get it for me, and that was probably the most emasculating thing that's ever happened to me.
Yeah, she probably didn't like it that you called her Big Suze, though. Oh, here, Lurch, come here, fucking. Just no, left one. Yeah.
But you've been doing stand-up now for how many years, Darren?
This year, I think it's 15 years.
15 years. I've got two veterans in the last 2 weeks. I looked like I went on last week, yourself on this week. What was I speaking to Luke about? I was sort of asking him, like, how have you seen it change? I didn't actually ask him this. I meant to ask him this. How have you seen it shift from 15 years ago, would you say?
There was a weird thing where comedy got cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like it became an in vogue thing to try. Lots of people then after COVID and stuff where gigs opened up, and there's way more people doing it now. Yeah. There are way more gigs as well, but I think when we started, people were just like, oh, I did like 100 gigs in my first year. I was like, fuck, I did about 4, because it was like you just did the PAV every 3 months. So I didn't do as many gigs until then. But I was going for a year, and then I moved away to Australia, and then I got gigging really fast. Cause,
did you do it in Australia as well?
Yeah, I moved over there. No, it was great because I literally had somebody come up to me one time and say, I don't know what you were saying, but it sounded fucking funny. So, and I was like, I'll take that. And I started getting better gigs like way before I should have had them. Yeah. Like if I was still here, I wouldn't have been getting those gigs. Right. But I went from, I've been doing it for like a year and a half, and they're like, oh yeah, you can host like the biggest comedy club in town. I was like, I can't, but you won't find that out until I'm up there.
I always think that Jimone, Jimone, that's sort of where, I think he's big here as well. He's a bit sort of before my time, but he seems to be really, really big in Australia as well. Yeah,
he basically started out there. He went out there to work, and then was just working on building sites, and then got into stand-up and got kind of bigger that way. That's sort of the story. But he ended up on TV over there, so it's quite weird to be more famous somewhere else and then come back and do like a waterfront. Yeah. Which he does every year.
He's doing a couple this year, actually. I think he is hilarious. Like, it wouldn't be my sort of usual type of comedy, but he is. I don't know. There's something about him, just the way he speaks or something.
Comedy's a weird thing. Comedy's very like music because what we do is you can watch somebody, and even if it's like not your thing, you can just watch somebody live and go, yeah, fair enough. I can fucking appreciate that. He's class at that.
Yeah.
You have it's like if you go see a live band where you might be like a metalhead and you go see a country band, you're like, I don't like country music. You go, those guys can play. You know, that sort of way. Plus, I mean, how long are you doing comedy now?
It'll be 3 years next year.
So there you go. So you've basically the out of COVID, and you're like, oh, gonna fucking give us a bash kind of thing.
Yeah, it was actually Joey. You know Joey Diaz,
Mm-hmm.
on the Joe Rogan podcast. It was actually his book I read, and I was like, just read it. I was like, fuck, I want to try that. But I've been wanting to try it for ages, and that was sort of the thing that got me, the balls to be like, all right, well, message Kieran Franco here about a gig. I went down the mountains and things, but I suppose like Luke and like Kieran as well, you also run a very important gig, especially for newcomers in the scene as well. The Gong Show in the Sunflower.
Yes, which is a sporadic sort of show, but it's I sort of did it for a bit of crack because I run the Sunflower Comedy Club, which is sort of booked acts. We do a night called 10 for 10.
Yeah.
So 10 are in, 10 comedians, everyone's doing 10 minutes. Real simple, basically communist comedy. You're all getting paid the same. You're all doing the fucking same work, all right? Nobody's stalling here.
Yeah.
And do that, and then the Gong Show was sort of a way. I used to do a thing called the Open Mic Special. It was a way for me to get to see new acts because I gig a lot and I'll do like a Lavery's or something. I don't get to see loads of new acts, so it's nice whenever I'm be like, I can just run one of my shows and then basically get the fucking audition 10 people.
Yeah.
So it's quite cool to do as well, where I can see people, and then because you hear about different acts, and then you might not see them unless you're doing like a pavilion or. So yeah, the process of comedy is all very dull. Apologies if you're working this or watching this, but
it's a comedy podcast. Fuck them. So
yeah, that's all right. Yeah, what do you mean you don't do stand up? What's wrong with you? You're probably quite normal and lovely. That's why you don't do stand up. One of the good things about comedy as well, it makes me feel very normal.
Really?
Yeah. Just in general, I feel like I fit into society much better than I thought I used to. Just because I know so many absolute fucking lunatics.
Oh, comparative.
Comparative.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you meant just the fact of doing comedy, and I thought there's so many weird comedians, but that's what you mean.
Exactly.
Oh, I know. And I'd say, and I think we're actually kind of blessed because we're such a small country, and there is a lot of comedians, but it is a relatively small pool when you think of like the likes of Austin or London or anything. And I'd say you would get some fucking head cases there.
I did when I was over in London for work, and I remember being like, I maybe just like see if I can message and drop into like an open mic somewhere, and it was insane. There was about 25 people on. I'd say 27 of them were having a mental breakdown. Do you know what I mean? And they're like, oh, you've done this before, you can go last. I'm like, that's your gauge. You've run this night for these fucking mental patients. I was fully expecting for somebody to go up and be like, hi, my name's fucking Dave. I'm off the gear 4 months. I'm just like, no, Dave, tell us about the gear. It could be funny. Was the gear good? Were you mental? Yeah.
I had Ian Rafferty on a couple of weeks ago, and he's obviously living in London. And before we came on, we were just talking, and I was like, have you been doing many gigs in London? He goes, oh, it's fucking wild. Like a lot of the gigs are obviously bringer gigs. There was one that sent him like a checklist of things you can't joke about, and it was like racism, homophobia.
That's the funniest stuff.
Exactly. What are you meant to joke about? Fucking shopping bags. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I have a very funny thing here because people would be like, or if you have one of the things labelled at us will be like, you just talk about like local stuff. I'm just like, because that's what will connect with everybody. Yeah. Like you gigged with me at Crusaders Football Club, and I was just like, I'm not going to get up there and talk to them about the current economic situation in Venezuela. Yeah. They're not going to give a fuck. But if I talk to them about stuff they know about and stuff I understand, then it'll be a bit of crack.
That was a good gig as well.
I really enjoyed that.
The only thing I didn't like about it was that the blinds were up. There was no blinds.
It was a very bright room.
The brightest room I've ever been in, and you don't really consider how awkward it is until, because I've never done a bright room. That's the first I've done one, and I don't think I ever considered like how awkward it would actually be when you can see everyone in the crowd.
Psychology of comedy is dark rooms where they feel safe. And spotlight on you, so you're the focal point, you're talking, and then they feel comfortable to laugh because no one can see them.
See, I thought dark room made me feel safe because I can't see them.
Yeah.
But I felt like a bit like we were giving like a TEDx talk or a conference or something.
But so basically, a room where you can enjoy something, but you can't be seen, is basically how racism is so popular on Twitter now. Because you're like, you mean they don't have to say it's my face and my name? I can say whatever I want. It's mental. It's getting funny because obviously when we're online and have a presence, if we say something, we have to put our name to it.
Yeah.
You're like, no, this is me. If I have an opinion.
I do have my alt account that is just straight up Indian hate rate. That's a joke. I love Indian people, by the way.
Yeah, great people, delicious food.
Better food, to be honest. I haven't tried the people.
But no, it's funny from being here because obviously when you go out and you gig in all places, I think we suffer from a real problem here where we think it's the center of the universe.
Yeah.
And I've lived in a few different countries, and then when you come back, you go, this is so fucking small.
Yeah.
This is so tiny, and we're insane.
I think the problem is the audience also feels like it's the centre of the world because they want to hear. Well, not all the time, but a lot of the time they want to hear jokes about fucking Arlene Foster's ditties or something. Do you know what I mean?
You got a good new bit?
Testing the waters here for Robert's Wednesday.
Oh man, are you on this week?
On this week, yeah.
I'm hosting. That'll be a good crack.
Are you? Happy days.
Absolutely. Going to absolutely sabotage your intro.
Yeah.
This next piece of shit.
Looking forward to the Lottery's debut.
Oh, that'll be good fun. That'll be cool, man. That's one to check off the list. Like that's definitely where you want to be.
I would like a great introduction.
Yeah. Do you want the patronising? It's his first time here, so be nice to him. You be nice. See if you're shit, I'll come out here again. The substitute teacher intro. All right. Fucking settle it.
It could work better actually though, because I said this to Luke. Whenever you introduce an act as like a newer act, the audience almost has a bit of sympathy for them, so they laugh a bit more. So we'll test it out on Wednesday night.
And if it doesn't work with just Thursday, just say my name and fuck off. Just say my name and get out of the road. Okay.
But I'm looking forward to it. And you're running a gig next week, next Sunday.
Yes.
Tiny Life Charity.
Will this be out before then?
Yeah. It's
cool.
like tomorrow.
You're like, I'm flying by the seat of my pants here, man. Sometimes this is recorded live. Yeah.
My mum actually asked me earlier on, she goes, do people watch it live? And I thought, how the fuck would that even be? It may as well be. There's minimal editing goes into this.
I was going, well, minimal editing is good. And so when you say, like, you have nights where people send you a list of things you can't talk about, just have a wee list here written on the table of things you shouldn't. It's going to be live, so none of these things. If you drop one of these when we're editing, well, that'll be fine. But yeah. Just a real jump cut to be like, or just like a jump cut halfway through the thing, be like, yeah, you probably shouldn't have said it, but then people,
Last week was actually the first time I edited something out, and I was like, I hate doing it. I was like, I can't be bothered finding this because I hate watching it back.
Off camera, I want to know what that was.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you what it was. No problem.
Because I've seen your act, so what was said that was so terrible that you.
It wasn't even me. It was Luke McGibbon, Mr. Nice Guy.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh.
It wasn't even that bad to be honest, but it was. I don't know. I hate listening back to whether it's a set or a podcast or something. Hate listening to even videos of myself. I won't watch them.
Yep.
So watching it back, because I don't know when it was either. So you have to watch the whole thing, and then if you miss it, you're like, fuck, I have to watch this back again.
Yeah.
You would cut it out.
This is why like bigger podcasts have like the wee producer guy who's just sitting with a pen, and somebody like drops a racial slur. He's like 14 minutes 52 seconds. X.
I did. You've done Four Brothers podcast as well.
Yes.
I did theirs, and they have this wee machine. It's like a wee. That's obviously what they record on and everything, but they have a wee red button. He just presses every time there's something they're gonna cut out. And I was sitting, and I goes, "Is that for you to cut stuff out?" He goes, "Yeah." And then I was sitting watching, and I goes, "You're hitting an awful lot."
What have I said?
And you can't, because every time you see it, you're like, "Have I done something? Have I said something now?"
Yeah. Are you one of the comics? You can't say anything these days.
No, fuck, I'm not. I think you can say anything you want as long as it's actually funny. But then there's also things I wonder, why would you want to say it? You know what I mean? Like there's some I've heard of some comedians doing jokes about certain topics, and I'm thinking, like, fair enough if you can make it funny, but I just don't think you can make that topic funny. Do you know what I mean in that sense? And if you can, you're probably not going to be an amateur comedian. You're going to be,
Yeah, you're good at this.
Yeah, exactly.
There's I think there was as certain comedians are more popular over the years, you'll see just because I've been in comedy so long, you'll see trends of people coming through and maybe like trying to copy that or emulate that. So there's a big thing when Frankie Boyle was massive years ago.
Yes.
And people were just like, all right, so comedy is just saying the worst possible thing. And you're just like, no, he's a highly intelligent joke writer. If he's joking about something that's quite rough, him and like somebody like Jim Jeffries, you're like, there is a joke in there. There might be something for you to think about. There's, that's really well crafted.
Yeah.
Whereas people just get up and go, abortions. And you're like, yeah. And where are you going with this? So we just get up and just say the worst possible shit. And needless to say, most of those people aren't doing comedy anymore.
Yeah.
Because you're like, where are you going with what? Yeah.
Does he even still really do comedy anymore, Frank?
Not really, no.
I don't think he does. It's sort of past that sort of. I mean, he's probably got his money and he's fucked off, which I have to respect it.
He's got a podcast now, which is great. Here Comes the Guillotine with Susan McCabe and Christopher MacArthur Boyd.
What is the sort of like premise of it? Is it just
Sitting around being mad and Scottish.
Yeah,
which is great. Very similar humor to here.
Yeah.
But they obviously talk about stuff that I think would offend a lot of people because they don't get the context, or they don't get context that those people are taking the piss.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than you'll find if you ever get the gig over in like America or Canada where they don't have sarcasm.
Yeah.
They don't realize that most of our humor is basically us being like, I will, fuck off. You know, that's our attitude is the humor.
Mm-hmm.
They don't get that. You'll tell a joke and they'll be like, why would you say that? And you're like, because it's fucking funny.
It's funny, exactly.
To me. Just me.
In America?
Yeah, a few have done New York, Boston, and then I lived in Canada, so I did plenty around Toronto.
Everywhere, man, about time, like,
Yeah, I think we're up to, what am I up to, 46 countries on the...
is it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and how many have you done stand-up in? Of those 44?
See, I did a whole big fucking jaunt around Europe when I was younger before I was doing stand-up, so not then. I've done... Do you know what? I might actually sit and look at that, because I've done like Southeast Asia.
Gigs there?
Yeah. I did a whole tour around there, which was great.
Oh, what was that like?
It was class. Basically, I worked on the base where I was backpacking, so the comedy clubs there would like have you for the weekend somewhere, and then they would just fly you back to wherever you were travelling.
Oh, right.
So I would basically go, what country am I going to be in? And then I would just write a new set because you'd be there and you just kind of tip around writing some stuff and then use some stuff from my previous. It's all travel stories. That's why I was really worried when I finally moved home. I was like, what am I going to talk about? All I talk about is stupid shit that happens to me when I'm traveling. But no, done gigs in weird and wonderful places like Cambodia and Malaysia and stuff. So
Fuck, I can't imagine what it's like to die in your hole there. I'm not that you would have died in your hole, but...
I did do one night to sort of test the waters in Kuala Lumpur. There used to be a brilliant comedy club called, it was actually called the Crack House.
Was it?
So it was started by a guy from Malaysia, and the guy who started the comedy club with him was an Irish guy.
Right.
But he had a CRACK, as in a cracking up laughing. I was like, oh, crack! I was like, Crack House? He goes, yeah. Real cool old school thing where they had like a sort of fake brick wall. They made it look like an 80s comedy club.
Yeah.
It was just upstairs in this room, and I went and did one of the nights on like a Thursday. It's like a quieter night. I was just in the city, and they were going, people come and do comedy in Malay, in their own language. And then some people would do it in English. And I was like, do you mind if I just get up and try and gig to a full Malay audience? And I just chatted to them about their country and didn't die, but it wasn't amazing. But it was cool just to be like, well, that makes me challenge for myself. To do that and then go into doing like a residency for the weekend of the comedy club. And there's people work there, they're like diplomats, or they're working in finance, or they're teachers. Right. Yeah, I was basically joking about Irish people are everywhere. And I was like, look, this woman here looks Irish. And I was like, where are you from? She was like, Katie, which is 20 minutes from where I'm from. And I was just like, you fucking... And then we just talked to her for 5 minutes. I was like, talk among yourselves. What are you doing over here? I know, but this was a real mix of everybody. There was Americans, there was Canadians, there was everything. It was cool, man. But you stop doing stuff like that, I end up doing random adventures where I'll see what's in the area and see who's about. One of the cool things whenever I was traveling was I used to get in contact with like if they had a local GAA team, and then if you had like a night off, they'd like take you out drinking. All right. Which is great. So when
there many countries that have GAA teams?
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Southeast Asia? Oh,
yeah. There's an Asian championships.
Is there?
Yeah.
What's the sort of quality like compared to homegrown GAA?
Well, there's a mix because it'll be people that are out there maybe as like school teachers,
yeah.
And then they'll like teach local people to play. There's a World Games, which was up in was it Dungiven and Derry there a couple of years ago. I was up at that, and they had a team. They actually flew over from Cambodia.
Oh really?
Now you could have felt tall there. I'd say they had the average height about 5'1".
And was it football or hurling?
A bit of both.
Both.
Mhm. But they're great. I think the World Games, the ladies' final last year was Canada versus North Carolina, and it was North Carolina, a big place for the Gaelic games. Like, but you do that, and then Gaelic teams are everywhere. I played in Canada. I've played in Australia. I played.
I would assume that there would definitely be Gaelic teams that are like.
Oh yeah, New Zealand. I played for the first ever Gaelic team to be sponsored by a strip club.
What was the strip club called?
Calendar Girls.
Oh, great name.
It was on our jersey. I'll show you after. It was on our jersey as well. Yeah, we had the jersey launch night in the club.
Unbelievable.
So if you wear your shirt, you get in for free.
Were the strippers working as well?
They weren't wearing much else. God love them. I maintain we did get a news story put in about us. A lot of people complained about us because it made like Joe.ie over here. This is 7 or 8 years ago now, but we did that. But the headline was local GA club helps put some girls through college. So there's just loads of boys that are working construction, so they were never out of the strippers. Like, and I was just like, lads, settle down.
What are like mostly would it be like butchers and
Yeah, it's the same as your local football club. Whoever's on the go, if whoever's in the area that maybe owns like a it'll be like some plumbing contractor or something. So it's fine. I don't think anybody has anything too exciting. Although I did get the Sunflower to sponsor the East Belfast hurlers.
Oh, did you?
Sunflower and American Bar. The guy who owned the Sunflower at the time had never been to a hurling match, and I was just hammered one night. He was like, "Fancy sponsoring a Gaelic team?" And he was like, "Look, this guy was dead up football man. He'd never seen a Gaelic game in his life." And I was like, "I'll bring them back here to drink," and he was like, "Yeah, fine."
And actually, it's a sponsorship that makes a lot of sense. To be fair, it is. I think they're missing a trick by getting more. We need more. Maybe that's why we need strip clubs here. Is to sponsor Gaelic teams. Think of the money that the strip clubs are bringing in, more than your butchers and plumbers.
See, strip clubs in this, obviously it'll never happen here because we have right wing Christians that are no crack, but then like during the Celtic Tiger, because I'm from just outside Newry, Dundalk had a strip club.
Did it?
Now I've never been because I can only assume that the quality would not have been phenomenal.
Okay, Darren, I'm sure.
No, I couldn't afford to go. You joking me? This was Celtic Tiger times when everyone said, "Jesus, we've loads of money, we've strip clubs and we've different types of wine." It was so. I remember. I'm nearly 40. I remember the world before the Celtic Tiger and money in Ireland, where if you fancy places had two types of wine, red or white. That's that old joke. Hotels were fancier; they had rosé. So yeah, it hasn't all been podcast interfaces and laptops.
Don't get me wrong. This would have been before the Celtic Tiger. How much this cost.
Yeah, I stole it from school.
I wish. It's the cheapest plastic I've ever felt in my life. You probably gigged to some of the people who have kids who made this in Cambodia.
Probably. Toner. I think I actually went to school with a couple of toners. It might be their family business down at home.
It is a good Irish name, toner.
Yeah. But
Myself.
so we're obviously sitting, not to give your location away too much, we're in the eastern part of the Belfast.
I'm giving a fucking address out. Nobody watches this. Yes, we're in East Belfast, Sydenham area.
But you're Dundonald.
No, I grew up in Tullycornet, yes.
So is this a big move to move into the town?
We moved here whenever I was 17, so 10 years ago now. So it was just because we were moving out of that house, and it wasn't intentional to get this far into closer to town, but it is, tell you what, far handier.
I'd say so.
Because Dundonald, it's not quite, it is Belfast, but you don't really feel like you're East Belfast, you know what I mean?
I'm assuming at some point years ago Dundonald was like a whole separate entity because they put some sort of main road up to it, was it? Or?
I don't really know, because it depends on what your definition of Dundonald is. Tullycornet, it's on the cusp. There probably are people out there who would argue Tullycornet isn't Dundonald. I would tell them to rise up.
But then where is it? It
could be its own separate entity. Well, Tullycornet and Gilnahert kind of the same area. You wouldn't call Gilnahert Dundonald now. If you did, that would be a bit weird. But
yeah.
I don't know. I think it could be. I'd say it would be. To me personally, it's Dundonald. But whether it's East Belfast or not, that's up for debate. That's a different story altogether.
See, we have this weird thing in the country called a townland.
Right. Which
is, I used to describe it as my dad's from a townland. A townland is a place between two places that isn't really a place. Because obviously everything has to have a name, So if you're like, if I'm driving from, let's say down home, if I'm going from like Newry to Market Hill, what's in between? It's like, just a load of townlands. Just loads of fields, like.
And are they called something like?
Yeah, my dad's from a place called Lissummon. But Lissummon is basically a church, a football field, and a scrapyard.
Right, so there's no.
And that's the place.
Yeah, there's no like main square or anything.
Yeah, there's no main square. Whereas I'm from like a wee village, so that at least you'd be like, that's that place.
Yeah,
I've
never heard of that before.
Yeah, townlands. There you go. So people be in townlands. Yeah.
Now, I ask every guest from your sort of neck of the woods how you pronounce the place that's near Warren Point. It's known for very nice Kodak corners there.
Rostrevor.
See, I don't like that. I look at it like Ross Trevor.
Oh, like a guy's name?
Two guys' names. Yeah. Ross and Trevor.
Well, Rostrevor is there's a guy called General Ross.
General Ross.
You know who he was? He burnt the White House in the War of 1812.
Oh, like that's where he was from. Were you from Rostrevor?
Yeah. There's a big the big obelisk when you're driving from Warren Point into Rostrevor. There's a monument to the guy. For burning down the White House. The first White House. So the White House you see on TV now is not the original White House.
Right.
It's 1812.
Why did he burn it down?
Because he was a British general, I think he was. He led the troops out of Canada. They invaded Washington.
Was there another war?
Yeah.
Another war?
Oh, dude, I'm an absolute history nerd. How long have you got for this podcast?
Oh, no. So I know about 1776.
Yes. War of Independence.
Revolution, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And
That was the no taxation without representation. So the Boston Tea Party, that was the start of all that.
Right, okay, and that's sort of
So
brought on the revolution. And then, so the British were in Canada and they wanted to come down to invade America again. They were like, we'll have you before, we'll get you back again.
so basically the idea was all the loyalists who left America after the War of Independence all moved to Canada.
Good lads.
There you go, absolutely. So they have moved up there. So then obviously before that the French Indian Wars where the British had fought the French for who owned Canada.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously nobody knew what was over this side.
Yeah.
Basically North America was like down the coast. And they're like, what's over there? Fuck, we don't know. We haven't really walked that far out. Like somebody got to the edge of Pennsylvania and went, I don't know, I'm not going any fucking further. Let's build a house here. So they had all that. So yeah, no, the British came back and invaded and they cleared out Washington. Basically fucking were like, well, let them have it. And they burnt the White House. And it was a guy from Restraver.
That is mental. That's
Yeah.
absolutely insane.
I love the idea of loads of people, if you've ever seen stuff like The Patriot, the Mel Gibson movie, all the British, the redcoats, and they're all very, yeah, it's fucking and country and all that. And it's just a guy from home being like, if burn the fuck. Yeah, later like the pony.
That is interesting. And you're a big history buff, are you?
Yeah, I love it.
What's your sort of like niche? What's your favourite part of history to learn about?
I really love Irish history. Because I think I always talk about this where I do loads of stand up it as well, where basically the Troubles robbed us of such a shared history because everybody was like, no, you're in this team. Because if anybody goes back far enough in like their own story or their own family, you're like, we're mixed in with everybody, sort of thing. It's one of those ones where it's one people be like, I think nobody wanted to go far enough back because. If you're from like a nationalist tradition, you'll go back far enough and be like, they were Brits, they were British soldiers, because there was no job, so they'll join the army.
One of my favourite things about Irish history is if you go on the Wikipedia page for Irish inventions, invented so many things up until the 8th century, I think it was, and then we invented whiskey. Nothing invented until like the 14th century or something.
Yeah.
We've peaked. This is all we need.
Good crack as well, because obviously the Irish for it is Ishkabaha, which means the water of life.
Is that what it means?
Yeah, but if you keep drinking it, you'll die. But no, we always that my joke for that is I always say about, because obviously the two most famous places in the world for whiskey are probably Ireland and Scotland. Now Scotch is obviously world famous. It's maybe more of a brand when people will say a Scotch, whereas you get an Irish whiskey. They also spell it differently.
Was it without the E or with the E?
I think we're without the E, they're with the E, yeah. So, but I mean, like most things in Scotland, better with an E. But I always say about whiskey over here, I'm just like, whiskey in Ireland and Scotland, whiskey's like sectarianism. Like we invented it, but by fuck they've perfected it.
What do you prefer? I don't think I'm not a whiskey drinker. I've never really enjoyed one.
I prefer Irish whiskey, but because the Scotch is made with a lot of places you get like where it's called peated whiskey, where it's like drinking and smoking at the same time. It's just how they dry the fucking ingredients. It's all burnt over turf. You're like.
Do you know where's actually massive for whiskey as well? Very strangely, Japan.
Yes, the word whiskey of the year. I think it's been won by a Japanese place a couple of times.
Is that what it is? It's such a strange thing because obviously it was invented here. It would have went to Scotland, and then you think about how because that's when we talk about history. That's probably one of my favourite parts of history is when the Portuguese and everyone was sort of fighting over Japan. Now, not fucking, not a lecturer on the subject, but I find it very interesting.
It was who wanted the trade route.
Yeah,
that's what it was. And Japan became they cut themselves off. They were like, fucking get out.
There was a whole thing. I don't know if you've ever seen the film by Martin Scorsese, Silence.
No, is that Liam Neeson and Andrew Garfield?
Yeah,
I haven't seen it.
It's great. I watched
They're like Jesuit priests or something like that.
The Jesuit priest coming from Portugal, and it's so stupid because they're all putting on fucking Portuguese accents.
Obrigado.
But they're speaking in English, and they're like, "You speak Portuguese?" It's like nobody's speaking Portuguese in this fucking film.
Yeah.
But basically, it was the Japanese were like, "We don't want Christianity here. We've got our own religion." For some reason, a lot of the Japanese sort of workers, like common people, were like, "Fucking yeah, we'll go for it." And it's actually a true story how Liam Neeson was a padre. He was a father, but he was quite high up, and nobody had heard from him in years, and they were sort of based in Portugal. And it was Andrew Garfield. It is Andrew Garfield, and the guy who plays Kylo Ren, Adam Driver.
That's the one.
Yeah, they are like, we believe. They hear rumors that he's converted to what is it, the Japanese religion?
Like Buddhism, is
I
it?
think it is Buddhism. Yeah, at that time.
Bushido's the fighting thing. Never mind.
They do mention Buddha in it, but they say he's converted. He's got a Japanese wife. He's taking a Japanese name and everything. And they're like,
He's gone native.
Yeah, basically, he's cutting about in kimonos and he's got fucking he's eating noodles.
Having a great time. He's the tallest man in Japan.
Well hung as well. I would say in Japan.
5'11".
And so they're like, we need to go. We don't believe this. It's all a true story, and they go and they find out right off he has. But obviously the Japanese torture methods that they were using even then, like I obviously hear about the World War II methods. What they were doing back then, even more insane. They would get the priests and they would hang them from their feet.
Yeah.
But they would something like a bag, and they would poke. They would put a bag around their head. They could breathe. They poked a few holes in it, but would poke holes in their head to let them bleed out. But because the circulation from the bag and there was a big wooden block would go around their neck, it slows the circulation down. So they would just bleed for days on end until they died. But it was brutal, like just because they wanted to spread the word of the Lord.
That's full like Christian martyr shit as well.
Yeah, and what happened is, and that's sort of the whole basis of the film is Andrew Garfield's like, all they wanted to do, by the way, is stand on, not to spoil the film for anyone, they wanted to just stand on a fucking picture of Jesus, and he's like, I can't do it. It's like, fucking do it, mate. What are you? But they realised that and it's what the Japanese actually did realise was the padres are more than happy to just die for God. But they don't like to see other people, so they'll just kill native Japanese people who converted to Christianity.
Okay.
But the thing as well is that they would pretend to the Japanese people like, if you convert back to Buddhism, step on Jesus, we'll accept you back into society. And then the Japanese will be like, fucking right, no chance, I don't want to die, just step on Jesus. But they'll still pretend, like, go to kill them anyway until the father, like the padre, he converts. It's mental, great. It's not a standard Scorsese film, but it's.
I was gonna say.
I know it's such a weird thing, but it was very, very good.
Because you're just watching this weird thing for 2 hours, being like, "Where's Joe Pesci?"
He's one of the Japanese guys.
Yeah.
Makeup.
Yeah. Oh fuck! No, that sounds pretty intense, man. But
that whole period of history, like even after that, when they just said, okay, no more fucking Portuguese are coming here from now on. They just said no to them, but they let the Dutch in instead. Famously, the Dutch didn't cause any problems anywhere they went. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, so for instance, the Dutch East India Company.
King Billy as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was thinking more, like Indochina and all that stuff. That was all them.
Yeah, they were the ones who started wearing all the fucking weird clothes, though, weren't they?
The Dutch.
Yeah, they had all the. Did you ever see like the sort of Salem witch trials and things?
Oh, okay.
Sort of, like, get up of that sort of period. That's who started that. The Dutch people.
Oh, that's the Puritans. That's those days.
I think so. Yeah.
Although there is the whole thing as well where the thing in America, this is completely flipping off Japan here. The thing over there with, because I remember going to like a pub quiz. It is something I know about, but I think I was the only person who got it right. Where in America they have the Amish, the Pennsylvania Dutch.
Pennsylvania Dutch, yeah.
They're not Dutch, they're German.
Yeah.
It's a bastardization of Pennsylvania Dutch.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. People are just like, the Dutch. And you go, no, it's Dutch. It means German. So because everyone's just like, oh, they're Dutch. They're just like, they're not at all.
I was watching a TV series and the Pennsylvania Dutch were in it. I can't remember what the name of it was. It was like one of those ones you get on Skylantic or HBO or something. It was good, but they are interesting people. I don't know.
They basically call anyone who's not them English, like the English.
The Amish do?
The Amish do, yeah. Because that's obviously whenever they were founded or whenever they sort of got themselves into the communities, that was the people who were running about the place outside.
English?
The English.
Okay.
So, yeah, because America wasn't always America.
Yeah.
It was a British colony, so it was that where it was like, it's in, is it in Kingpin? Have you seen Kingpin? Woody Harrelson movie? It's a Farrelly Brothers comedy. Oh, you're so young, you've missed out. That was a proper comedy when you could do gross out humour and no one was like, that is offensive. And it was class. But they had that where, it's even in The Simpsons, tis a fine bar in English, but tis no pool. So you have all that sort of stuff. But I love all that stuff. The whole thing, history is so mental and complicated, and whenever people are so set in their ways and believe something, you're just like, here's a history book, and they're like, oh, I'm completely wrong about fucking everything.
Yeah. What I find so interesting is like the sort of scale of it. Like you could even like for East Belfast, like you could look back and there'd be so much detailed history on like one area, but you think about the size of the world and like other places, and each sort of place like that has its own massive history behind it. I was reading one day, I don't know why, about Derry, and it was about Derry. It was actually about Derry's walls. It was on the Wikipedia page, and then I was like, where did they come from? Went on to that, and then it brought me back to like 9th century fucking clans up in Darren, and I was like, this is just, how do we even know this?
Gaelic chieftain Cahir Doherty who burnt the city to the ground, and then they're like, we need walls.
How the fuck, like, do you know what I mean? It's a mental thing even.
One of the cool things is, so that's a really good history fact as well, because I used to be a bus driver, and I was working one day, and the two of the boys I worked with knew I did comedy, and they're like, yeah, this weekend. I was like, yeah, I'm up in Derry, and there was a boy there who was from Scotland, but he lives over here, and he was like, do you know what me in London, Derry? And I went, you're not from here, fuck up. And I goes, no, sorry, I'm giving this wrong name there. It's actually Dara in Irish. But and I says to them, I just kind of went, do you know what? I goes, I'll call it Londonderry if you can tell me why it's called Londonderry. And he didn't fucking know.
Why is it?
Because of the walls. The City of London guilds help them, give them the money to build the walls. That's why there's the guild stamp is on the cannons when you're walking around the walls.
That's a great fact. I just thought it was because they were Protestant and they loved the Queen.
This is going back to the lady who was online, the Belfast thing.
King Billy's horse was pale and she was fast.
Yeah. Terrible news for lads. His horse wasn't white and he loved dudes.
Yeah. Well known fact.
Yeah, enjoyed the company of men. I was just like, oh, okay. He was the king, he could do whatever he wanted, to be fair.
And that's kind of, it's when you think about like Ulster Scots, that's maybe like the sort of like, it's the same sort of like, or like, I don't know how to describe it, it's the same sort of like idea that, everything's very literal. I think the word for, not that I fucking speak Ulster Scots, because it's not a real language to begin with, but
it's a dialect, give it some respect.
Oh, sorry, it's a dialect, but the word for Hoover is floor sucker, and it's very literal sense in that way. We actually had Ulster Scots people come into our primary school. It's real array of people. Henry Winkler, Ulster Scots, coming into our primary school, and it was like it was just like a thing. I'm sure Irish, like sort of Irish schools get it, where people come in to promote the Irish language. These hen cases came in to promote Ulster Scots, but there's no real, like, your parents wouldn't hammer it into you or anything, growing up here. But they came in anyway, and they were like giving us, this is food that the Ulster Scots would have had, and it was just a fucking bit of bread. It's a shite, you know what I mean?
Like, lad, this is potato bread.
Yeah,
I already ate this.
I get it from the shop.
You're preaching to the converted here. I'm all about this.
But they came in like fucking like 1800s clothes and everything. Man. I only have like vague memories of it because it was so young, but it was fucking wild.
I think they have stuff like that where it's, I mean, the issue is with stuff like Ulster Scots, we live in Ulster, we use it all the time and don't realise. It's been here long enough that people brought Scots as a dialect, because Scots definitely isn't English, like the poems of Robert Burns and all that stuff. But the word we, that doesn't get used south of like County Louth.
Oh really?
Yeah. But we say, just a wee minute now. That's us. That's a very Scottish word. It translates over here, we use it. But you'll find it in Donegal. And you'll find it in Louth. So you find it around border areas. But into the south it doesn't get used because that wasn't part of the plantation.
I always thought they would have said it as well.
Just, some people do, but not, I don't think it goes as far south.
That's interesting.
I mean, up to your oxters, your armpits. There's loads of stuff that we use that we just, how you're wished.
I've heard that phrase.
You ever heard that?
Up to your oxters?
Up to your oxters, like, I'm busy. I'm up to my oxters, up to my armpits. And
I've never heard that before.
no, you're the worst Protestant ever. You're not. Actually, to be fair, if you were probably like a really good Protestant, I wouldn't go over the door. So I'm not allowed to speak to your kind. But no, yeah, I love all that. I think it's really important and it's really cool, and it's really good whenever you're dealing with fucking idiots, because whenever people are so like black and white about a point, whenever they try and argue something back to you and you go, yeah, no, we shouldn't have done that either, they get really confused because you're like, there are grey areas,
Yeah, it's not everything's so clear cut.
Yeah. It's not like when you like pick a team and you're like, oh, I'm in this for the long run, even though we're dreadful.
Who do you support?
Well, Gaelic is different because you have to support where you're from.
Oh, and you can only play for where you're from as well, can't you?
Yes.
So, do you still play?
Yeah, but I play in East Belfast.
Oh, do you?
Yes.
Do you not have to go travel?
No, so where I'm from, so your club you can play, but if you want to play, if you get picked to play for your county team, which is the highest of honours, you go and play where you're from.
I thought it was even at club level though. You sort of grew up, like, I know a girl, I used to work for a girl, and she played she was from, I can't remember where she was from, it was like carried off direction, I think anyway, but she moved over to like North Belfast and she would have to travel. She refused. She was like, you just can't. I was like,
she wouldn't transfer, yeah.
Like, would you not put in a transfer
it's
or something?
If you're living in an area like where I'm from in Armagh, if you live in an area and it's achievable for you to drive to where you're from, you have to stay there.
Oh, right, okay.
So like I lived in a wee village called Bestbrook, but I played for a team called the Summon because my dad's from there, and it's a small community. Like, we need the players, so you go play there, and that's where I always played. And then whenever I moved up here, I was like, I'm not driving up and down. and then East Belfast started, so I joined that team.
So there's sort of like it's not like it's sort of like a gentleman's agreement, like
It's not like you can't be traded like a soccer team, or you can't, if you follow people. You move. Now, people in the cities move clubs because there might be a club just over the road, and I don't like it here. I'm going to move. That's more acceptable, but it's so parochial in the country that is absolute sacrilege to do that.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's I thought that was dead interesting because obviously like with what you call soccer, but you just move if you want to move. You can go if they want you as well, sort of thing.
See, I only say it's kind of weird the way same thing with language where I only say soccer if I'm talking to you because then you know what I'm on about. I say football and then I call Gaelic football Gaelic.
Oh, do you?
So people go when I say Gaelic, people go the language. I'm like, no, that's Irish. Yeah. Gaelic is the sport, and it's a whole fucking explanation thing again. Then
if someone says Gaelic, I would assume the football to begin with.
Yeah.
I think because anyone really says hurling, I don't think anyone would call it Gaelic. They call it.
Yeah, nobody calls it hockey for Catholics.
Yeah. Which it's weird because hockey's a bit gay. To be honest, it's a bit of a gay sport.
Think so?
Oh yeah, it's a bit of a gay sport. Hurling though.
You think you're bent over too much?
It's not about just slapping balls with your sticks. It's just a very, I don't know. I think if the girl equivalent of the sport plays in skirts, it's gay.
That makes hurling pretty gay then too, because there's skirts in camogie.
That's not a skirt though; it's a skirt. And I hear there an uproar about this.
There is an uproar, but
they want to play in the shorts, and fair enough. You don't hear hockey girls complain about the skirts, so I think that's tennis. There's another one, bit gay.
Tennis a bit gay.
It's a bit gay. It's not.
There's a lot of grunting, to be fair.
Yeah.
You're like, you haven't even served yet. What are you doing?
I actually watched the video of I can't remember who it was, but I like tennis by the way, but it is a bit of a gay sport. It was it might have been Alcaraz and Sinner, to be honest, were playing, and they were in a rally, and when they were in this intense rally, the grunting stopped, and someone posted it being like, that's just proof that they don't fucking need to do something. You don't need to do that, because it was just complete silence. All you heard was the ball getting hit, and that was it.
You basically saying this is the tennis version of the guy in your gym who's deadlifting my headphones on.
Yeah.
You're like, ah! And you're like,
yeah. If he didn't have those on, he wouldn't be doing that.
Davey, knock it off.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But I was playing even paddle last night, and I don't. It's a masculine sport. It's a man's sport.
You texted me that, and I thought you were taking the piss.
No, I fucking love it.
Sorry, lad. I was playing paddle. And I was like, what?
People need it. It's the fastest growing sport in Europe, by the way. It's unbelievable.
Is it ping pong without the table? It's ping pong, but you have a whole room.
Weirdly, I actually saw paddle ping pong on my reels last night. I've been talking about that much, but it's like tennis, but a wee bit of squash involved.
You can let it hit the back wall and whack it on.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
So when's it ever out?
There's a door to get into the court.
And if it goes out there, you were decking you didn't lock the door.
The ball has to bounce. If you're, say I'm returning a volley, the ball has to bounce before it hits the wall.
Gotcha.
And then if it hits the wall first, it's out. Sort of thing.
Okay.
It's a smaller court than tennis, so it's not as, and it's usually hit and double, so you're not fucking all over the place. But
I've been invited to play. I might have to go and give it a go and let you know how I get on.
It's great. I'm not even good at tennis really. I'm not really good at any sports, mind you, but I enjoy playing it the most because it's not. It's kind of like I think it's more accessible than tennis would be. Even fitness wise, but also like ability wise as well. It's a lot more forgiving.
When you say more accessible than tennis, like your dad doesn't have to be a solicitor to get you into the club, no?
Yeah. You don't need, as well. I suppose the only problem is you have to play with 3 other people. Is the issue? So you have to have at least 3 mates. Unfortunately,
I'm used to organising 5-a-sides for football, so that's okay. I could probably.
5-a-sides in our football.
Yeah.
Right.
5-a-side and Gaelic, you'd be wrecked. Size that pitch.
What's your? Actually, this is a great question. So obviously, a history man and a Gaelic man. Tell me this, Darren. Who invented it? Irish or Australians? Because the Aussie rules, they would say they invented the whole sport. It's very, very similar.
So Aussie rules was invented to keep cricket players fit in the winter.
Right.
So they play cricket all summer. This was the initial idea. Now they're 2 very different sports now. But that was if you go to the MCG, the Melbourne Cricket Ground, there's a whole exhibit about Aussie rules being invented. So they had rugby.
Yes.
They're a British colony. They had the Empire Games. So this was a thing they invented. We're going to play this. The ball's evolved into its own thing now. But no, I think they're sort of in and around the same time. But Gaelic was like 1870s. So
is that when it was invented?
That was invented. It was putting down the original rules. The original rules of Gaelic football, there was 21 aside, and fights were allowed. You put 42 people on a pitch. Games must have finished. It must have been like football games finishing like 3-2. Just like it took ages to get here. There is that. Have you ever seen that game of football? And I think they play it in Italy where you can fight. It's like, but the
Yes.
towns play each other.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's what Gaelic looked like years ago.
It's those two specific towns that have like a rivalry in it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
One of my favourite things to do with Gaelic is watching. I don't know how to search out for it, but I'll get the odd video of real rural local towns, but they do their own broadcast and they're like their local commentary.
Oh yeah, the self-commentary.
And they're
Phenomenal.
They're so big. People think Sky Sports are biased with Cara and Neville. You wouldn't believe these boys. Oh Jesus, he's clappered him there, and it's fucking brilliant.
It's great when they swear. There's a really famous one. Somebody did an animated version of it, but there's the original broadcast of it is somebody. This is back in, I'm going to say, late 80s, early 90s. Somebody's just filming it, and they're just watching a football match, and the boy on it is dying of a hangover, and he keeps talking about it. You can hear him like burping off mic and all. But he's all like, it's up to young Cara there. He's giving up. I used to play with his father. He was fucking useless, you know. But he was just like, oh fuck. I was at that wedding. Yeah, but the guy was I was at that wedding last night. I'm full of pints, and then I get onto the whiskey, and you're just like, what is happening in this game? I was like, what is their goal? What happened?
I've only ever really watched a couple of games when it's been on the TV or anything. I think it's class. Like even watching it, it's all action. I have a real thing for all action sports. If it's like non-stop, that's why I wouldn't really thank you to watch a cricket match. And I think that the rules are like simple enough that it's like easy enough to follow, to get into.
Three in the net, one over the bar.
Yeah, and that's it, sort of thing. Where I don't know if you ever watched like an American football match, and it's like you need to get this 10 yards, and then you've got 4 goes to do that. You get another 10 yards, and it's like, who the fuck came up with this? Where you can understand where hurling came from, or hurling and Gaelic, sorry. And you're like, get that ball there, and that's the same as football, you know what I mean?
It's a row, and you only play with the people you know.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
it. And it's quite weird because where I'm from, there's like a local rivalry with a place that's about 5 miles away. It's like the closest team. But I've played in a few of the derby games, and they're pretty brutal, just beating the shit out of each other, which is really funny because it's only 5 miles away. You're guaranteed it's all second cousins. Like I'm like, hey, we're not gonna take all these bastards today. You fucking hear me? I go, I know this guy. I fully went to school with him. Yeah. So you have that there, sort of stuff. But no, do you know what? I took Ian Thompson to.
He has that great bit of it.
It's fantastic. I took him to a match. If you want to go to a match next year, I'll take you. Surely.
I'd absolutely love to.
We wear orange. It'll suit you.
Oh, happy days.
Oh yeah. Take it in Armagh.
It's
Great.
Is that
Yeah.
Your local team? Or
Yeah.
Your county team, sorry.
Another historical fact about Armagh: the last High King of Ireland, Brian Brew, is buried in a Protestant church.
Is he?
He's buried in the Church of Ireland Cathedral in Armagh. No, the Church of Ireland's the church. Although the Church of Ireland is basically Catholicism with no guilt. I think they needed a good way to get converting people, but they're just like, what if we made it similar, but you don't feel bad about yourself after you wank?
Well, that's where it actually came from. Martin Luther. I think he wanted to have a divorce, and he was like, I don't fucking like this woman. But the Catholic Church were like, you can't do that.
Henry VIII.
Is that who? Was it not? Was it?
Oh no, Martin Luther was the first person to be like, you are making this shit up, lads.
Yeah.
He was obviously reading the Bible going, none of this is in here.
Yeah.
And they're all like, shut up, you German.
You have to pay for your fucking...
Yeah, imagine a German person being literal. Do you know what I mean? Fuck up. He did that. But it suited, the whole point was, it was obviously Henry VIII is famous for the 6 wives. Yes. And it suited him lovely to be like, if I join this new church, I can get rid of this.
I can stop cutting their heads off. I can save a fortune on guillotines.
The problem was, the first one he divorced was Catherine of Aragon, and then he was like, I'm a Protestant now. So he didn't need to kill the other ones. I'm like, dude, you can have the divorce now.
Did he behead all of them?
No, he beheaded, I think he killed 2 of them, 3 maybe.
See,
one outlived him. He divorced the first one. The last one obviously outlived him. I think he just sort of fell out with one because he married her based on a painting, which obviously, before photography.
That is so funny, because we still have that problem today. It's like, he get catfished. Henry VIII was the first person to get catfished.
Pretty much. He married somebody based on a painting. And you're like, lad, what are you at? Oh, is there?
I think there's a Henry VIII. It's not often we actually utilise the laptop. I just have it to look at myself most of the time. Henry VIII rhyme. I'm pretty sure there is like a...
Is this to remember the...
Yeah.
Catherine of Aragon, Anne Boleyn, Catherine Howard. There's 2 Catherines in that. Jane Seymour.
Divorced, beheaded, died, divorced, beheaded, survived. That doesn't really rhyme.
Read that again. Divorced.
Divorced, beheaded, died, divorced, beheaded, survived. Oh, it does actually.
Okay.
Divorced, beheaded, died, divorced, beheaded, survived. Maybe he was like, fuck. So that last one was the one who outlived him. So it was Catherine of Aragon, she was Spanish.
Yes.
Anne Boleyn, she's the one I've heard of.
She got killed.
Jane Seymour, there's no... That's not who Jane Seymour is. I thought Jane Seymour was an actress or something.
Jane Seymour is Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman, and she's also in one of the Bond movies.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, she's actually called different Jane Seymour, though.
Yeah, I think so. Anne of Cleves, 2 Annes.
That was the one I couldn't remember, Anne of Cleves.
2 Catherines. 3 Catherines.
Who's the third one?
Catherine Parr.
Catherine Parr. She's the one that lived them? Yeah.
Catherine Howard was the one.
Basically, Henry VIII was treating wives like whenever you need to update your car every couple of years.
It's MOT.
Look, there's a bit of mileage on that. Can I get a trade-in, please? And they're like, lad, you can't keep coming back here.
What does tell you here, this is actually great information. This is a very simple diagram. 24 years he was with Catherine of Aragon. So he was.
It's because you couldn't give him a son, so he fell over.
Yes, one daughter. The same one, Anne Boleyn, wanted a son off him. Having a daughter with her.
Yeah, that's Elizabeth I.
And that's oh my god, this is so detailed for such a simple thing. Jane Seymour, he wanted a son and help from Protestants. She gave him a son, but she died in childbirth.
And the son died when he was like 8.
Edward, did he? Was that Edward the First?
Yes, he wasn't. No, it was Edward the First, but he didn't last very long.
Then it was Anne of Cleves. That was to get help against Emperor Charles V.
The Holy Roman Emperor.
Ah, right. So again, to help from Protestants.
So this podcast, folks, not funny but hilarious, factual.
Again, and then it was. And then he took a bit of a U-turn, and then he went to Catholic Bar to get favour from the Catholics.
Oh, he was like, "Look, lads, I know I've been bad this, but I know I've dissolved the monasteries and all that. I've wrecked the place. I will be invading places."
And then he went to Catherine Parr, and that was just a nursing in old age. But it seemed like the last sort of before Catherine Parr, Anne of Cleves and Catherine Howard didn't actually do anything wrong. She just left him, and he just killed Catherine Howard for no reason seemingly.
Oh, okay. So, I think everything was just like it's one of those ones where it's just like I can't get a son out of any of these ones. I'm just like, lad, maybe your swimmers ain't swimming.
Yeah, he's a big fat guy too, wasn't he?
Eventually.
Yeah. See, that's the time period I like to go back to.
It's because obviously he was married to his first wife for 24 years. So let's say he married her when he was like 20. Yeah. And then from the age of like 44 till death, he's like, I've been married 5 times. I'm like, lad, you're not Elizabeth Taylor. What are you doing?
It would have been a bit younger than that, sure. He would have been 20. He would have got married.
I probably got married when I was 9 or something.
Yeah, sure.
He's been betrothed to the second daughter of the king of Spain. Yeah, it's one of those ones where whenever that's another fucking history when you go back and you go, I can see why the Habsburgs ended up like literally genetically mutated because they were all cousins. Because there was only like 8 kingdoms you could marry into. Yeah. And they were like, is your sister not already married to like a cousin there? She's just like, it'll be fine.
That's the way Saudi Arabia's going, not if there's like, listen to the PIF on the sponsor me. But I just go on with Wikipedia tangents. That's how I get all my weird sort of knowledge. And the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman married just straight up first cousin. Aye. Like it's like his dad's brother's daughter.
Has nobody? But this is the thing where history is important. Yeah. Where eventually you get fucking Charles Habsburg, who was literally fucking disabled.
Yeah. I don't think, and there's a lot of, you don't even need history, there's a lot of science to back it up as well. You know?
Yeah.
Really not.
It's called Rural Communities in Tyrone. There's a sort of, there is a great one as well. This is something I found down home, and I thankfully don't have this problem because my grandparents were from all different places. Where when you go, there's a place outside Newry, I shan't name it, but it happens in a lot of places where there'll be families in the village with the same surname, but they'll be all like, oh, but we're not related to them, and you're like, are you not, die? You mean if I go back far enough, I'm not gonna find 2 cousins married in the early 19th century, like late 19th century, early 20th. So they're all like, we're not. There's like different nicknames for these families. I'm just like, just fuck up, would you? You're clearly not.
It's kind of the blessing of having a nickname.
You just didn't want to give up land. You've married your auntie.
It's kind of a blessing in having a surname that's not like very regular. Like Dinsmore isn't quite a regular surname.
I know some Dinsmores.
There's a guy from Newry actually. Is it Mark?
Mm-hmm.
Mark Dinsey. He makes the pizzas. He gets random shoutouts on this podcast. Mal was telling me about him, and then we actually live in my old house up in Tullycornet. We actually live beside Dunsmore's, so we did the Dunsmore family. Post was a nightmare.
Oh, I was gonna say, would that have been like a Hitler scenario where somebody spelled something wrong on the birth cert?
I don't know.
Because Hitler's name wasn't Hitler. You know what I mean?
Was it not?
That was like Heidler or something. His dad was fucking half illiterate.
Is that
Something like that, yeah. Because obviously you're like, you don't hear that name more often. You're just like, aye, I know why. You, yeah, I'd like to hope. But imagine, because I think he had like nieces and nephews, so that would have been real awkward. You'd be like, Jesus, I'm going to have to change my name.
There was the last living relative of him, not too long ago now, was a paedophile, and that was like he was like the last living relative.
And he wasn't even the worst person in the family.
Yeah, there was always the funny.
He's like, lad, the bar is so high here.
There was always a funny tweet. It was like there's always someone in the family.
No, definitely just like, there's something worse here.
Well, Darren, it's been an absolute pleasure. Some real interesting things today I've learned.
Thanks for having me.
I look forward to this Gaelic match next year. Is there anything you'd like to plug?
Yeah, if you're about next Sunday, come to the Black Box and buy tickets online for Stand Up for Tiny Life. We've got like 15 comic. The lineup's mental.
It is insane. I was looking at it earlier.
Yeah, and follow Darren Matthews Comedian on Instagram, and all the details are there.
Wafflers is out now. If you want to watch that, it's on the YouTube somewhere. Wafflers tickets for number 2 will be out soon. But right now actually.
Oh, lineup's class for that too.
Yeah, Shane Toll,
Go to Wafflers.
William Thompson, Ian Thompson, and of course myself, Kieran Franco, down in Houston, early hosting. So get tickets for that. I'll be at Lavery's Wednesday and Thursday. Darren will also be at Lavery's Wednesday and Thursday.
I will.
Come see us. Come on down, and I'll see you next week. Thank you very much.